At this time, I'd like to open up the Administrative Services Committee meeting for Monday, March 4th. Please call the roll. Here. She's excused. Here. 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 I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the February 19th, 2019 committee meeting. Councilor Tesorario, Councilor Hill.
Councilor Cordino?
Yes.
Councilor Naki? Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Tesorario?
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot?
Yes. Is there any old business to attend to? Seeing none, moving right along to new business under authorization. The City Engineering Department requests a budget amendment for the cost incurred to account A.6475.0440 for the materials required to complete lighting the City of Oswego Curved Dam Fall. Is there anyone here that needs or would like to talk about this? I don't see anybody. I mean, we all are aware of the project we're doing on the falls, and this is just a transfer to cover the materials. So if there's no other questions or comments, can I have a motion? Councilor Hill, Councilor Tesorario?
Councilor Cordino?
Yes.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Tesorario?
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot?
Yes. Item number 2, the City Clerk's Office has received an application from Rowley Construction for a 2019 solid waste license. Again, this is pretty standard, just bookkeeping. Anybody that wants to transfer solid waste has to have a license in the City of Oswego, so this is pretty cut and dry. Are there any other comments or concerns on this one? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill, Councilor Wilmot.
Councilor Cordino?
Yes.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Tesorario?
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot?
Yes. Item number 3, the Wastewater Department requests the mayor be authorized to enter into agreements with PVS Technologies and Amrex Chemicals to provide chemicals to the Wastewater Department. Is there anybody that would like to speak to that? I see somebody's getting up.
I'm here.
I had a feeling.
I'm here to save you money today. When we looked at Onondaga's bids for our ferrous chloride and our sodium bisulfite, we found that their costs were more than what we had previously. So we asked them to do a mini bid with our specs. They did the mini bid, they came back, and these two are less money than the Onondaga bid, so we don't want to piggyback on their bid. We want to use these two rather than their bid. So that's what this is about.
Excellent. Any questions or comments for Mr. Sharble? Yes, Councilor Tesorario.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's not very often that we get, due diligence on saving money, but I appreciate you looking into that and finding out that we can get the price better. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to say? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Tesorario, Councilor Wilmot.
Councilor Cordino?
Yes.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Tesorario?
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot?
Yes.
Item number 4, the Office of Economic Development requests permission to prepare and submit a grant application for the second round of Zombie and Vacant Properties Remediation and Preservation Initiative. Is there anybody here that would like to speak to this?
Thank you, Chairman. This is if you remember, we received this grant for $150,000 back in 2016. Now they have a second phase coming up, so we're checking back in with the state folks, showing them that we spent the money on what we said we would spend the money for. And really, we're kind of just asking for a continuation of the programs we started back in 2016. What we used the money for the first time was to fund 2 part-time people in the code office to help with documenting blight in neighborhoods, and then go do the deed research, because this grant is focused on bank-owned homes in homes stuck in foreclosure. They would go around every single street in the city and log every property that appeared to be vacant, and then they would find the owners, make contact, and try to bring them into code compliance and understand the story with every property that they found. We also used the money to buy some software, and then, of course, last cycle we did the $44,000 of the money to put in the zombie repair fund, and we would propose to try to put more money from this second round in that as well.
All right, very good. Any concerns or questions for the mayor on this one? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councillor Hill, Councillor Tesorario. The mayor's office. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Item number 5, Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. requests an executive session for the sale of property. I suggest, since we have 2 more committee meetings, that we vote on a recess for this committee, and then we'll reconvene after the other 2 committees. So can I have a motion to recess? Councilor Tesorario, Councilor Hill. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
At this time, I'd like to call the Physical Services Committee meeting for March 4th, 2019 to order. Please call the roll. Here?
Here.
Excuse?
Here.
Thank you. Could I please have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 19th, 2019 committee meeting? Councilor Gozick and Councilor Wilmot. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Is there any old business to come before this committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business under communication. Item number 1, Thomas Kells, Commissioner of Public Works and Parks and Recreation, has received a request from Melissa Batchelor to set up 100 chairs approximately 50 feet to the left of the bell tower at Brightback Park on Saturday, June 29th, 2019 for a wedding ceremony at 4 p.m. Is there anyone here to speak to this event? Commissioner Kells, are there any concerns with the event? Great. Any questions from the council? Okay, could I please have a motion? Councilor Wilmot, Councilor Gozick. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Item number 2, the Special Events Committee, through the Office of Economic Development, is requesting the use of public space at Brightback Park, as well as the pavilion on Friday, June 14, 2019, between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. for the DARE education program. Mr. Rudzik?
Thank you. This is a new event. As you know, Officer Grover is heading the DARE program, and my kid participated in the DARE program through Layton Elementary, and it's been a wonderful program. And I think, in terms of DARE education, this is the first time event that Officer Grover wants to do to recognize those that participated in the program and give them an activity to celebrate their accomplishment and participate in that program. And so, I recommend moving forward with this event on June 14th.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Rudzik? Okay, could I please have a motion? Councilor Gozick, Councilor Wilmot. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Rudzik? Item number 3, the Special Events Committee requests the use of public space and road closure on West First Street between West Mohawk Street and West Bridge Street for the annual weekly farmers market from June 13th to October 10th between 3:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. They are also requesting use of Civic Plaza and City Bandstand. Additionally, the event is requesting police assistance during the event. Mr. Rudzik.
Pretty straightforward. This is a reoccurring event. The farmers market done very well for the city of Oswego. Pretty straightforward. So.
Again, thank you. Any questions? Okay, could I please have a motion? Councilor Wilmot, Councilor Gozick. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And item number 4, the Special Events Committee, through the Office of Economic Development, received a request from Julie Chetney on behalf of the Oswego County Autism Task Force to organize the Outrun Autism 5K event to be held on April 6, 2019, between 8:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m., beginning at 29 East 1st Street. They're also requesting a police escort to lead the race. Mr. Rudzik.
This is another reoccurring event. Nothing has changed from last year. The date is pretty straightforward. They were very well received in the community, and I support it.
Thank you. Again, any questions? Okay, could I please have a motion? Councilor Gozick, Councilor Wilmot. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Is there any other business to come before this committee? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Councilor Gozick, Councilor Wilmot. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, at this time, I would like to call the Planning and Development Committee meeting, March 4th, 2019, to order. Call the roll, please.
Councilor Cabrera,
Here.
Councilor Corino,
Here.
Councilor Cruz.
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the February 19th, 2019 committee meeting? Councilman McBarty, Council Cordino.
Councilor Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilor Corino,
Yes.
Councilor Cruz.
Yes.
Is there any old business to come before this committee? I see none, so we'll go to communication. Number 1, Mayor William J. Barlow requests approval of amendments to the city plumbing code regarding water meter bypasses and other amendments. Mayor?
Thank you. This goes back to my State of the City address when talked about all the good things we've done at the wastewater plants and the water plant and our ability to lower the sewer rate. Now we're kind of shifting focus to water. And one of the things I identified in that speech was what we found larger commercial users using bypasses on their meters. What a bypass does is the water runs through the pipe, runs through the meter registers it, and that's how the city knows how to bill you based on usage. Some folks have installed a bypass which takes another little tube and goes around the meter and then they close off the pipe that runs the water into the meter, and that way water's running through into the building without being registered through the meter, and that way the city can't bill you for what you're using. Now, after some of these people are doing it just because they don't want to pay what they rightfully owe, or pay their fair share, but after researching, what we found is actually the health department requires some places like nursing homes, for example, to have a bypass, because if they have to change out the meter, the building still needs water. However, there is a lock that you can put on a bypass, so we don't have to order them to remove the bypass, because that's initially what I stated. But because of that caveat, we really can't do that in certain facilities. So in order to get around that, the city can issue meter locks. So out of our code office, we will purchase these meter locks, and our plumbing inspector, who oversees the plumbing code, or enforces the plumbing code, will go around to our commercial users, install this lock, and then if you, for whatever reason, have to use your bypass, you have to provide notification in writing to the plumbing inspector, and then he will come unlock the bypass, and then once you're done, he locks it again. So that's what this change to the plumbing code mainly addresses. It also implements a fine if we catch you using a bypass without putting it in writing, or for any reason where if you're using it to just rip off the city. There's a fine in there, $1,000 for the first time we catch you, $5,000 for every time thereafter. We may want to look at, I'll see what the council thinks, but we may want to look at those. I just don't know if that's harsh enough. If you're, let's say, a nursing home, for example, and you have a quarterly bill that's $17,000, it may still be worth it to try to use a bypass. So we may have to look at that, but I'll leave that for you guys to discuss. That's the main change here. The other change is mandating the test to be administered twice a year. In the city, the plumbing board is appointed by the mayor, and they are in charge of administering the test. What we found is they've been reluctant to administer the test for one reason or another, and what I found is when we looked in the code, it actually does not mandate anywhere in writing for the plumbing board to administer the test, which means they could, you could have 3 people trying to apply for the test, and if they don't feel like getting together to write a test and administering it, those people just wait and they never get a license to do a job. So we're putting in writing that the test has to be administered twice a year, once in January, once in July, which I guess is how it's been for years. It's just never been in writing, and they kind of pushed it off and didn't do it. So we're just putting it down in black and white.
I have a quick question, Mayor, and I apologize for the lateness of this. If there is a bypass, is there any way that we could, issue them to meter the bypass also.
Yeah, that's another way in addition to the lock route, but the question is, and we just talked about this, and I kind of thought of it walking out here. If you mandate the business to meter the bypass, you're kind of then they have to go buy another bypass, or buy another meter, and as you know, they could cost, depending on the size of the pipe, the meter could cost $2,000, $4,000, $6,000. I don't know if we want to put.
Okay.
Of course, we're talking about people who are ripping off the city, but I don't know if for the people who actually need it and will use it correctly, I don't know if we want to mandate that additional charge on them, but it's certainly something you can consider.
And one more question, only because I was the plumbing inspector at one time. Thank you. Is there anything that says that they have to develop the test, the board? Is there anything in writing that says that?
Yeah, the code does say that
It does say that?
the sole purpose of the board is to administer the test.
Okay. Because I thought maybe that was going to be one of the items that they might have changed. Thank you. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Isn't the legal term for that theft of services? It is theft of services, isn't it? I didn't hear him say theft of services, though. Get them good.
Councilor Hill, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was kind of along what Miles said. So we're talking about theft, and is there a criminal penalty that goes along with the financial penalty? I mean, is this a crime, or is this just a fine with no crime attached? How does that work? 'Cause, I mean, it seems that perhaps the penalties aren't strong enough, given that they're committing a crime or stealing knowingly.
Yeah, it's an issue that I think we have we've looked at. I mean, this is clearly designed as a civil penalty. You've got civil law and criminal law. For it to be a criminal act, generally there's an intent or a willful action. You could argue that putting the bypass in is evidence of that. As the mayor said, there are some facilities that are mandated to have that in place in case the meter broke or there was some other issue they needed to bypass to service their the vulnerable population that they have. Yeah, I mean, it certainly can be a potential criminal act, but we would have to create I think, at least a law that points to it. I looked through the plumbing code and our city code for specific reference to it. I didn't find it directly. Beyond that, it's a matter for law enforcement and the district attorney's office to prosecute if something came up like that. But yeah, anytime you are taking a service away from the government that, well, anyone, but in particular the government, that the degree and severity of the crime actually increases. So right now, I think for our plumbing code, instituting this bypass is the first step. We're hoping that that will curtail, if not stop altogether, this practice. If it doesn't, I think maybe we should think about codifying a local law that makes it a criminal act. We can prosecute it locally, not to overburden the DA or anyone else. But if there is something that's happening in the city and we can prosecute it locally, that would be the way to go. But for now, this is the civil route that we're taking and recommending to the council.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Can I get a motion to approve of the amendments to the city plumbing code? Councilor McBurney? Councilor Cordino? Yes.
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 Mayor's office. Item number 2. The Zoning and Planning Office requests discussion regarding the new singular wireless special use permit for a wireless telecommunications facility at 30 East Albany Street. Counselor?
This seems like the issue that never go away, right? We've been back several times. We have the company representative here. But this is simply a report. The planning board did review this at the meeting last week, made a favorable recommendation back to the council. So I think you have all the information you need. If there are questions that the council has tonight, again, the company representative is here. I can certainly ask or answer those questions. Mr. McGann from the zoning department's here too. So,
just for the record, I had 2 calls, one from a resident in Scribe across the street, and one from a resident at the end of Brittany Hills. Once it was explained, they had no issues, and that's the only 2 calls I got about when this was published. So I don't see where it's a problem. It's far enough off the road. Once it was explained to them, they were all good. And you know, for people that don't know, this is at the Speedway. 300 East Albany Street is the Speedway. So plenty of room up there. It's far enough off the road. It's going to be 150 foot tall. It's not going to impede anything, I think, for anybody that's lived up there. And I support this wholly. Can I get a motion to approve? Councilor Cordino? Councilman McBurney? Yes.
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 At this time, is there any other business that needs to come before this committee? I see none. Can I get a motion for adjournment? Councilor McGurty? Councilor Cordino? Yes.
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 At this time, I'd like to have the Administrative Services Committee go into executive session. Can I have a motion? Councilor Hill, Councilor Tesorario.
That was good.